It's lovely to be back on Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com, and we're going to talk about lots of cricket. We're going to talk about the past, we're going to look to the future and possibly understand what Sri Lanka needs to be doing, particularly against England in the Test series. I got Farveez Maharoof as usual seated next to me. We're going to pick on his brain, ask him a few questions, ask for his thoughts. But first and foremost, let me start off with that T20 game. Now, Sri Lanka lost by 30 runs. England made 187 for 8. Sri Lanka made 157. They were good individual performance. Thisara Perera was good. Joe Denley surprised a lot of people, coming back after 8 years, had 4 wickets. I personally thought that those wickets were gifted, and I'm not sure whether he actually got those wickets. And I personally felt, I'm going to ask my expert, but I personally felt that the game could have been much, much tighter had those catches been taken. Thank you for joining us. 4 catches dropped, Jason Roy, and overall I thought the fielding wasn't up to scratch in that T20 game. And you think that 30 runs reflects those mistakes of Sri Lanka?
Absolutely. I thought fielding is very key. I mean, we've been speaking about our fielding for the last 2.5 years or so. I mean, it's been in the bit of downside, to be honest. But if you look at the 5th one day, when we scored runs, 366, we held on some brilliant catches. And where else we came to the T20, with the confidence high, and we dropped 3 sitters, 2 sitters, and probably a half chance. And as I
the irony was, the groundsman held on to an outstanding catch.
That was hilarious. But overall, I thought fielding did play a part. And 30 runs could have, I mean, it's a huge margin, but if he had held on to those catches, we could have restricted in something around 170. Could have been a much better chase. But overall, I thought England deservedly, won it. I mean, they had some clean hitters, and also I don't think we got the team combination right. Just playing 4 recognized batsmen and too many all-rounders, you can't do that. I mean, personally, I feel in any team, and especially in 2020, you got to have 5 specialist batsmen, but we didn't have it. That was a downfall, and with the big hitters coming in, except for Thisara, the rest of them failed. And very impressed with Kamindu Mendis. The all-rounder coming in, scored a brisk 24 in under pressure. So overall, we had some positives, but as I said, England were much better, superior side.
Yeah, I think no doubt England were the better side. They had plenty of depth in their batting and bowling, and they looked an awesome side, no doubt. Now, it's time for the Test series. It's going to be a completely different ball game. Let's not forget, Sri Lanka have been good in Test cricket. They've dominated lots of teams. Don't forget, it was not long ago that Sri Lanka beat South Africa comprehensively 3-0. Now, there was this warm-up game, a 2-day warm-up game at the NCC. The batsmen just went out there and enjoyed themselves. The board 11 got 392 for 9 in 89.5 overs. Everyone chipping in. Kaushal Silva, Manoj Saras Chandra, Sadira Samaravikram, Ashan Priyanjan, all of them getting into half centuries and retiring. Matthews and Thirimana getting close. And England also had a good outing with the bat. Joe Root getting 100, Moeen Ali 60, Rory Burns 47, Butler 44, and England made 365 for 7. Nishan Peris getting 3 wickets for the Sri Lanka board 11. Now, how useful are warm-up games? Now, why I ask you this? I want to ask this question from Farveez Maharoof simply because of the modern arrangement when it comes to tours. Now, in the past, tours used to be long, and there used to be a lot of practice games, side games. But today, you play 1 warm-up game. There were 2 warm-up games, and then nothing until the 3rd test is over. So, what are your thoughts as someone who's played at that level?
I think when it comes to subcontinent, this will always be the case. I mean, you play the warm-up matches 1 or 2, and then you finish off the Test series. But when you go abroad, which personally I've experienced,
maybe England, but not other countries,
as well as Australia, they do it. I mean, they offer you, so it's up to the visiting cricket board or the management whether they want another practice match. I feel personally that in the middle, at least after 2 Test matches, when you have you should have about 8 days break. But it's not too bad. Have another 2-day game in the middle. That's my personal opinion. But it hardly happens in Sri Lanka or India or any other subcontinent countries. But overall, something to ponder in future. But Test cricket, has to do something different. So this may be the change that we need.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that the players would want to know. As I said, Test cricket, now the white ball stuff is over. The white ball format is done and dusted. Now it's going to be Test cricket. Test cricket time. And as usual, we start off at Galle. Now, Galle is a happy hunting ground for Sri Lanka. And one of the men who made it a happy hunting ground maybe in the last 8, 9, 10 years is Rangana Herath. He's calling it a day after the Galle Test match. That's going to be an emotional moment, not just for him, lots of Sri Lankan fans. And my question, first question to him, I'm going to ask a few questions. First question to Farveez Maharoof is, what next for Sri Lanka after Rangana Herath?
I think there are a few options. I think straight away once Rangana retires, I think Akila Dhananjaya would be the main spinner. And
But you wouldn't be looking at a like-for-like replacement?
left arm, I mean, definitely there should be a left arm in any squad. So I think at the moment they are persisting with Malinta Pushkumar in the test setup. So I think he will get his chance eventually. But it all depends on how he's going to perform. And we have seen him in international cricket. He hasn't done that well comparing what his record is in domestic cricket. So I'm pretty sure that once Rangana retires after the first test, Malinta will get his break. But it all depends, as I said, all about him. But we have Akila Dhananjaya and Dilruwan Perera, Lakshan, something, and 3 good spinners, so we could use them. And also, I'm very interested to see the combination what you're going to play in Galle. I mean, the talk is that this is the South African wickets what we played was just like a piece of clay.
No, actually, I beg to differ. Those pitches weren't as bad as the pitches that they played against Australia. You see, I thought the South Africans handled our spin badly. But as you say, interesting to see what the pitches would be.
Definitely, I think a bit of both. I think South Africa definitely played bad, but I thought the wickets, straight away that crumble and opening the bowling with spin and playing 3 spinners. And personally, I'm not a big fan of them. I like to see 2 fast bowlers going on.
You had the luxury because you had Muralidharan when you played. You needed no more spinners. He was bowling virtually from both ends.
But still, we had, when I played Test cricket, we had Upul Chandan and Rangana Herath.
How many games did they play?
Probably about 10.
Exactly.
And mainly it was 3 fast bowlers with, it's 4 fast bowlers in the squad, like Lasit, Vasi, myself and Dillar. 3 players, 1 steps out and Murli plays, or else 2 fast bowlers, 2 spinners. But what I'm trying to say is we are going to play in difficult conditions like New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. So you need more fast bowlers. And in case if you play 1 fast bowler, what if he breaks down? It's a big risk. It happened against India last year. I mean, Nuwan Pradeep got injured. Dimut Karand opened the bowling. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But, all depends on the conditions what you're going to put up there. But very interested to see the top 7 going to be. Either we are going to play 7 batsmen, 6 batters, 5 bowlers. So lots of ifs and buts. So it all depends on the conditions, the weather, the condition of the wicket. So I'm keeping my fingers across. Just want to see the playing 11. How are you going to go forward?
I must quote, or I must make mention of an interesting quote Otis Gibson made when South Africa was here. You know what he said? He said, when are the Sri Lankans going to see Lahiru Kumara play a test match at home? Now that had a huge meaning because Sri Lankans were not keen to play more than 2 fast bowlers. So that to me told me a huge story. But one thing that Sri Lankans will be mindful, Maha, is that the England spinners, at least in the white ball format, seem to have that right balance. They got the leg spinner. I'm not sure whether Adil Rashid in whites. This is also, some people have this mental block. True. In colored clothing you're different. You put on your whites, you're completely different. I mean, I've heard even Imran Tahir used to be like that. Yeah. But the off spinner, they got Moeen Ali, and there is that left arm spinner Jake Leach. So
also it all depends on, if you take South Africa and England, South Africa did drop Shamsi for the second test match, knowing that it's going to spin and play the fast bowler. Yeah. That was a selection blunder.
Yeah.
But whereas with England, they got 3 quality spinners plus Joe Denley, who bowled brilliant. I mean, as you correctly said before, even I didn't put my money in Joe Denley, but took 4 wickets.
He got 4 wickets. That's all.
But when it comes to England spinners, they have Jake Leach. I'm pretty sure that he'll play.
Yeah.
Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid with Joe Denley. So they have a strong spin squad as well. So, we don't want to give that advantage to them as well. But, it all depends, as I said, how they look into the first test and everything. But it's going to be a very interesting series.
Very quickly, lots of visiting spinners don't seem to know how to bowl on Sri Lankan surfaces. Yes, those pitches are turning, those pitches are crusty, but there is an art, isn't it, in bowling on subcontinental conditions. You think the English spinners know that?
I think they're watching from the one days, which Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid bowl. I think they definitely know the art. They spun, they bowl the right pace. It all depends on the control. More you keep the batsman quieter, the wickets, the chance of you getting the wicket is higher. That's how the first class cricket goes, and as well as the test cricket when it comes to Sri Lanka goes. So I think they definitely got the art, and they got 2 good fast bowlers as well. I mean, 3 through a broad play. So if he drops out, it's going to be Ben Stokes and Jimmy Anderson. So decent team. I think when you compare the South Africans and England, I think England got all the bases covered.
Yeah, they definitely have all the bases covered, and in terms of real challenge, I think the Sri Lankans might be surprised or may find the England spin quite a potent weapon as they take them on in the test matches, but that is to be seen. Now, we also need to deviate a little bit from the England tour because there is a Bangladesh tour happening. That's the under-19 Bangladesh tour. Now, the second youth test, Sri Lanka won under-19, won by 74 runs, with Sri Lanka making 226 and 233 for 9 declared. Now, Parnavithana, that is a name that has been really shining for Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh made 109 and 276. Well, Ashan Daniel had 8 wickets in that game. So it's a 1-all as far as the test series are concerned. The series was concerned, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, the under-19, and currently the ODI series is happening. Now the Sri Lankan ladies, they did take wing to the West Indies to participate in the ICC Women's World T20. Now, are you a big fan of ladies cricket?
I followed a little bit.
What do you think? Have you seen any progress of the Sri Lankan ladies?
I think we definitely do, especially the Indian series we played, in our conditions, and we lost the series, but eventually the performance were much better. I thought Harsha De Silva as a coach must be so happy, so that going into the World Cup, the performance has been decent. I wouldn't say great, but decent. From where they were, where they ended up during the Indian series, there was a huge step forward. So our show, 2 shows before. In World Cup, it's all about on the day. You can upset a big team. It's just a matter of the day. So I think if we get the right momentum and win at least a couple of games, who knows? Yeah,
Sri Lankan ladies have been struggling a bit, so every win is going to help them. Now, mercantile cricket, I know you're part of it. 26th Singer MCA Premier One-Day Knockout Tournament 2019 was won by MAS Silueta. They beat Demo by 168 runs. What was your side? You're not even in the finals.
We lost to Silueta in the semi-finals. Silueta played really well. I was watching that game. They scored something around 315 against a strong Demo team. And Silueta, deservingly, they won the knockout championship. But unfortunately, in the T20 finals, which is going to happen on this Saturday, they lost to Sampath Bank, and Silueta stepped out. But overall, I thought this year's mercantile has been really very close affair. And only the weather was a bit bad, and there were so many shortened games. So overall, I thought this year's squads, when it comes to mercantile tournament, were pretty competitive.
Yeah, mercantile cricket, of course, let's not forget that there are lots of Sri Lankan cricketers, first-class national cricketers playing, so it is bound to be a very well-contested tournament. Right, we are almost at the end of Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com. Now, I want to ask you our usual question. We do have a question every week. Now, our question of the week is, now we told you, Rangana Herath is going to call it a day after the Galle Test match. So, we want you to go back and research on Rangana Herath. Now, we are asking you, who was Rangana Herath's first international wicket? Now, the word is international. Who was the first international wicket of Rangana Herath? Now, last week's question is, who is the highest ODI run scorer for Sri Lanka in 2018? Now, answer, Niroshan Dikwalla and Thisara Pereira, they have joined. And would you believe it that they both got the identical average of 34.58. Dhananjaya Chaturika from Colombo, you are the winner. Very well done. Congratulations. Just to remind you again, who was Rangana Herath's first international wicket. Now, the word is international. So, that's the story on Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you look forward to the test series as Farveez Maharoof analysed it. He did touch on what areas that the Sri Lankans will be looking at and how strong England's spin is. We'll find out everything when the test match at Galle unfolds, and hopefully we will be with you after that. Thank you for joining. Until we see you again, it's bye.